Alright, this here is going to be a quick tutorial on hosting multiple websites with Ubuntu, Nginx, and Lucee. We're going to be using the install scripts that Pete Freitag has put together. He's very security conscious in the Cold Fusion community, so pretty much everything done here you can really trust. Back that 100%. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually clone this repo. Links will be in the documentation. I'm going to come over to my newly built Ubuntu server on DigitalOcean. I like them just because it's quick and easy and fairly reasonable. So what we'll do is we will clone that repo. It's pretty quick. I'm going to go in there and you can see we have all the files there. One thing we need to do is set that install script permissions. You can look down here in the documentation. Here we go, and just so I can show you where you can get all the information from. There we go. And now we're going to run it. It's going to update everything for you. Might have a few yes and no questions to answer just as it installs things. Say yep to that. And this is a really easy setup. And you can expand on it, add MySQL or any other kind of database you're choosing. We're going to tell it yes. Alright, so now Lucee is coming down past the checksum. Needs to install some more stuff here. The OpenJDK JRE looks like. And one thing cool that this install does for you as well is it installs the latest version of Command Box. Command Box is not actually running the Lucee server or anything like that, but what it is doing is, for security purposes, creating the default password and injecting it into the Lucee config. It's using the Command Box cfconfig module, which is really cool, and then you can actually log into your server and use Command Box to edit the settings, etc., and so on. Now, the first install of Command Box does take a little bit. It has to initialize those libraries. Hopefully, it won't take too long. And this is running on the lowest level server that DigitalOcean has. It's $5 a month. While that's running, I'll kind of show you what all it's doing. Install is running through these scripts here. You can edit them as your at your leisure, whatever you feel needed. But it it downloads the latest Command Box. It installs the cfconfig module. It says, hey, we don't have the password here, we're going to generate one for you, and it'll save it in this file here on the server. And it'll set permissions so that it's not accessible by anybody other than you. I would recommend going in, getting the password, removing that file, and storing the password elsewhere. Alright, so here we go. Command Box in all of its glory. Thank you, Brad Wood and Ortus Solutions. And I'm doing this live, guys. There's no cuts, just a bunch of dead air while this is going on. Just want to show you how easy it is. Alright, here's where you saw with the code says there's no password. I'm going to set it to that location. What it's doing right now is spooling up command box after it has been installed. Alright, yep, and it shows setup complete. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, I need to get the IP address that I was working on. It's the DigitalOcean IP address. I'm going to enter that in, and we have hello. Alright, now that's not a multiple website, that's just one. So next step. Back here on the README page, it's very straightforward. It talks about the sites enabled. So we're going to come over here. Alright, we have a default file. Now this here is talking about creating the new one. What I'm going to do is just copy this first one and come over here, and I'm going to call this test 1 just because that's what I already have the DNS being routed to this location here. Paste it, and we're going to make a few changes. Alright, and we'll change the location. This can be wherever you want it to be. That's what I'm going to do right now, just to keep it short and simple. Alright, come back over here to the documentation, see if there's anything else we'll need to do. We will need to restart Nginx in order for that to happen, but before I do that, I actually want to create a file in the path. And of course, this is in sites enabled, it's not actually in sites available. Got a pull request in there. I'm making the symbolic link for that and show you how to do that. So where was I there? Let's see, I think I just called it test 1, didn't I? Yeah. And I'm sure you all have done that many a time. Alright, so now that we have that there, we will restart it. Now this is not going to come up because it is in the sites. Yep, I actually put it in the sites enabled, mainly because if I disable somebody, it's just because I lost them as a client and they're just gone. I don't actually use the sites available, but if I were to have created the file, the .conf file, and the sites available, what I would do is do a symbolic link from there to the sites enabled. So now that that is there, fingers crossed, bam, there we go. We have test 1 up and running. Shows you all the information about it. There, www test one. Now that's still not multiple sites, right? So we're going to copy test one, and now we'll have test two. Edit that file. I'm going to change the path, or the server name, and all this Nginx stuff. That's for another day. That can get very deep. But I do want to point out, you notice it's included in the lucee.conf file. I'll go in there because there's some things I want you to know. But restart that and test two. All right, what did we do wrong here, Andrew? Ooh. We don't have a folder there. So let's see, I think that's the proper way. No. Okay, well, showing my ignorance and lack of skills there. All right, so, and we will create that file. I'll just put that in there. Fingers crossed we come back over here. Built to the context. Yep, there you go. Everything's now. So what this actually does for you as well as a bunch of things, it creates the proper context using mod CFML, which is very cool. And it's important that you know that, because the next step most people would do would go right here to admin. Well, you can't. You're not going to be able to from the outside world by default. Like I mentioned, Pete is very security conscious. He locks down things, and that's why I trust him. But it's good for you to know how to access that. The information is actually in the documentation, I do believe. If not, we will add it here. So I don't see it right offhand. But if we come here and we look at the Lucee config file, we're going to see by default what it's doing is anything with Lucee, it is commented out to allow a certain IP address. So what you could do, and what I would recommend doing, is to only allow your IP address, and then restart everything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to do allow all for now. Right. And restart Nginx. Come back over here. And now Nginx is allowing it to pass through to the Lucee admin. Now, the password, what's the password? We don't know. By default, but the default install of Lucee, it does not set a password, and then the first time you come in here, you have to add one. However, there's potential for people to forget that and leaves you wide open to the world. Pete's very security conscious. So, if you just cat out /root/Lucee admin password, you're going to get it. And for some reason, I don't like the way that's done. At any rate, there is my password to log in. And now we have access to the Lucee admin, where you can make all your changes, etc., and so on. While I've got you here, one thing I like to do, I always set my white space management to smart. It's just my preference. Catch me in Slack. We'll go over that. Yeah, and that's really it. I'm going to post all these updates here. You should have that information. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I can go over with that you might run into. Some of the gotchas may be that you don't have permission whenever you create everything. If they won't execute, just remember that. But that's essentially how you can host multiple sites using Nginx, Lucee, and the security lockdowns provided by Pete there at Foundeo. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me or Pete. Yeah, you probably won't like me saying that, but hope this helps. Have a good one.